Hello, everyone. Let's start our today's discussion. I hope you all remember that in previous class, we completed our discussion on question number 1 of specimen exam of advanced audit and assurance. We are having series of past paper discussion sessions for advanced audit and assurance exam. These past paper discussion sessions give you a revision of different topics and also give you an understanding that how you have to deal with a complete exam paper. Today we are moving towards question number 2, which is a 25 marks question. In this question, 20 marks are relating to technical knowledge of auditing and 5 marks are relating to your professional skills. I want you all to listen to me carefully with patience and concentration so that you people can understand that how you have to attempt the auditing marks in a professional manner so that you can target complete 25 marks. Now we'll read the entire question, we'll look at the requirements, and then we will graph the complete answer together. I want you all to listen to me carefully. It is 1st July 2005. You are an audit manager in Walford and Company, a firm of chartered certified accountants. Your role includes performing post-issuance audit quality reviews, and you have been asked to review the audit work performed on Rivers Company for the financial year ended 31st January 2005. Now, post-issuance audit quality review means that the audit report has already been issued and then we perform the review. These reviews are called as cold reviews. A quality control review which is performed after the audit report has been issued. Okay? These reviews are normally targeted to create improvement in the firm's policies and approach. The following exhibits available on the left-hand side of the screen provide information relevant to the question. Team and fees. Information regarding the audit team composition, the time spent on the audit, and fees charged to the client. Going concern. Details some matters you have identified during your review of the going concern section of the audit file. The information should be used to answer the question requirement within the response option provided. So we have read an introduction of the question that what this question is about. So apparently in this question, we are performing a quality control review of an audit which has been performed. Okay. I always say to my students that when you are reading the question for the first time, don't rush. Read it with patience so that you can identify the maximum possible data. Once we read the complete question, then we read the requirement and then we refer the scenario back again. The purpose of first time reading of the scenario is to enable us to identify maximum possible data when we refer the requirements. Okay? Don't rush while first time reading of the question, otherwise you will get frustrated that the question is difficult. Every question is easy if you read it carefully. Okay? We'll also draft the complete answer together so you'll have a complete understanding that how you have to deal with an exam situation. Rivers Company is a listed company operating in the construction industry. The company complies with corporate governance regulations and has an audit committee. Rivers Company has been an audit client of Walford Company for 8 years. And Bob Newbold has been an audit engagement partner during this time. Now, as you all know, that in case of listed client, an audit partner cannot provide services for more than 7 years. And in case of Walford Company, the client of Walford Company for 8 years. In case of the audit firm Walford Company and the client is Rivers Company, Bob Newbold has been providing audit services for continuous 8 years. It is a breach of ethics standards. Okay? I'll repeat it again. As per the ethical standards, an audit partner cannot provide services for more than 7 years in case of listed client. Okay? But still, we are reading the question for the first time. We'll just read the scenario, we'll try and identify the issues, and then we'll look at them in detail while we'll be drafting the answer. Reverse company audit report was signed by Bob Newbold and issued last. See now, here the professional skill of analysis and evaluation is very important because the examiners, if the students don't read the question carefully, the audit report has already been issued. Okay. Now, what some students do is that they write that the audit should be reviewed by a second partner before issuing the report. Now, if you read the scenario, the report has already been issued. You are performing a cold review. See, the professional skills do not create any difference in the auditing approach while we are answering the question. We have studied all of this when we are studying our normal topics. But when the examiner gives 5 professional skills marks in the question, he expects that the student will read the scenario more carefully. And while developing the answer, he will make sure that his answer relates to the scenario. Okay. So the audit report has already been issued. Now you have to think that what should be done now. Now the firm's policies and procedures need to be reviewed. That how the firm's policies and procedures didn't detect it. And since it is written that reverse company, the client complies with all corporate governance regulation. So why the audit committee of the client didn't identify this issue? So what you need to understand is that when you are writing the answer, it is very important that you understand that in which phase of audit we are currently. In this question, the audit is already done. The report is already issued. So now while writing the answer, your answer should reflect this. Okay? The report contained an unmodified opinion. Walford and Company requires its staff to require each hour they spend working on each client in the firm's time management system. From reviewing the time records relating to the audit of Reverse Company, you are aware that Bob and other team members recorded the following amount of time on the audit. Bob Newbold, the audit engagement partner, only spent 2 hours, which is obviously very less time. So again, you can have an argument that since audit partners spend very less time, this means that the review done by the partner will not be sufficient. And as a result, there is a concern that an unmodified opinion, which has already been expressed, was not supported by sufficient evidences. See, what I'm trying to say is that some students think that these professional skills have changed the entire approach of answering the question. This is wrong. You are developing your answer in the same manner. Just the examiner expects that while developing an answer, you should be reading the scenario carefully. You should be applying the scenario carefully. Okay? You shouldn't be making general comments. Okay? And this was one of the things was already expected from the students. Okay? Even if I just ignore these professionals, still the examiner expects that while developing the answer, the student should understand that in which phase of audit we are currently. Okay. Pat Kenley, senior audit manager, only spent 6 hours, which is obviously very less since it is a listed client. Anissa Quintin, audit manager, spent 35 hours and 6 audit assistants spent 130 hours. Total time spent on audit is 173 hours. Now I have a question from you people. We are doing an audit of a listed client and we spend 173 hours. Are these hours sufficient or they are insufficient? So many students will say, sir, we don't know. So just use your mind. 173 hours. If we work 10 hours a day, this means that we completed the entire audit in 17 days. When we are doing an audit of listed client, it takes much more time. Those students who are working in audit firm, they know that when we do audit of a listed client, it requires a lot of time and audit usually goes on for 4 months. 173 hours is a very less time. Even if you divide it by 8 hours a day, then also it will be like 25, 26 days. And obviously, completing an audit of a listed client in just 25, 26 days is insufficient time. Okay. It is apparent from your review that almost all of the detailed reviews of audit working papers were completed by Anissa Kinten, who has evidenced her review by stating final review on each page of the audit file. See, Anissa Kinten is an audit manager. Audit manager cannot do a final review. There is a senior manager who should be doing a final review, and much better, the final review should be done by an audit partner. And even if the audit partner was busy and he cannot give sufficient time, he should have delegated it to the senior audit manager rather than to an audit manager. She has recently been promoted to audit manager. So I can say that Anissa Kinten was just a junior audit manager, a fresh audit manager. So the reviews were also insufficient. You are also aware that Bob Newbold booked total 40 hours to Reverse Company in respect of non-audit work performed. Just look at it. That for audit, he just spent 2 hours. But for some non-audit work, he spent 40 hours. This means that the partner didn't perform the audit with quality. His entire focus was on non-audit work. Okay? So first of all, in case of listed clients, the non-audit work is not permitted when it is related to financial statement. And even if we are doing the non-audit work, which is not permitted, the audit partner should make sure that he should have spent greater time on audit rather than non-audit. He has spent 40 hours on non-audit work and just 2 hours on audit work, which is really insufficient. The only information you can find in the documentation is that the non-audit work related to special investigation. Okay. And that Bob confirms that it does not create a threat to auditors' objectivity. Now, see, again, there is an issue. The documentation is insufficient. The audit partner is just writing this word that there was some special investigation and no further detail is given. It creates a risk that maybe the partner has taken a bribe or something, and that's why he didn't completed the documentation. Even if the non-audit work was performed, it should be clearly written. It should be clearly written in the documentation that what was the non-audit work. And if that non-audit work was relating to financial statement, then it was not permitted. What safeguards were made sure? Just only one thing is written, that it was some special investigation. The total fee charged for audit was $250,000, and the fees for special investigation was $890,000. Self-interest. It's a clear self-interest threat that the audit partner may have become biased for this non-audit special investigation work. See, I'll repeat few things again. When you are drafting an answer, it is not about achieving professional skill marks separately. What the examiner says is that while drafting an answer, you are just answering your auditing marks. But what I want from you is that you should be relating your answer to the scenario in a more better manner. You should be taking better judgments. Okay? The same auditing, but relate it to the scenario in a better manner, and I will give you 5 extra marks in question number 2. Now, I must say that this was one of the things which was already expected from strategic professional level students. But since the students normally do not relate to the scenario well, so the examiner has given 5 extra marks in this question to the students. Okay, like if you look at the requirements, see, if you look at the requirement, you are only answering these 20 marks. Evaluate the quality of the planning and performance of the audit of reverse company, discussing quality management, ethical and other professional issues raised, and recommending appropriate actions to be taken. You will answer these 20 marks. Professional marks will be awarded for demonstration of skill in analysis and evaluation, professional skepticism, and judgment and commercial acumen in your answer. See, in section B questions, these 25 marks questions, there are no professional skill marks for communication. So in section B question, normally these 3 skills are asked. Analysis and evaluation, skepticism and judgment, and commercial acumen. What I'm trying to say is that don't create a stress of these professional skill marks. These are a gift for you. Believe me, these are a gift. What the examiner is saying that as attempt your auditing answer in a normal manner. Just make sure that you analyze it well, you relate it to the scenario well, you do good evaluations. Skepticism, if there is any questionable thing, you should question. You should be able to make a judgment that, okay, if it is written in the question that unmodified audit opinion was expressed, so you should be able to make a judgment that this unmodified audit opinion was not supported by good evidences because the partner didn't spend well time. The overall audit was not done in good time because it was just 173 hours for entire audit. So that is judgment that you should be able to take a judgment, a conclusion that, okay, there were issues in the quality. And commercial acumen is commercial point of view, that where it can become a risk for the client or where it can become a commercial risk for the firm. Okay, since the second exhibit is for going concern, so obviously that will involve a lot of detail about commercial acumen. Okay, so then there is a second exhibit which is on going concern, which gives us some detail about the going concern review of the client. From reviewing the audit working papers, you are aware that going concern was identified as a significant audit risk at the planning stage of the audit due to low profit margins or losses being made on many of the company's construction contracts and increasing economic uncertainty. The company typically has 20 contracts ongoing at any time. So the going concern was a significant risk for a client, and there were some issues in the company contracts. Most of the audit work on going concern was performed by Mary Loxley, an audit assistant, who has just taken her last professional exam and is not yet qualified. So again, this is an audit quality issue. That when it was a significant audit risk, why the major work was done by an audit assistant who is not even qualified? The majority of the audit work performed on going concern focused on review of 5 major contracts to determine their profitability. The management of Rivers Company identified the major contracts for review. The management identified. Just read it. The management of Rivers Company identified major contracts for review and provided Mary with forecast indicating that the contracts would all make a small profit. So there are significant quality issues. First of all, an audit assistant did majority of the work on an area which was a significant audit risk. And going concern is a subjective area always. Secondly, the samples were not taken by the audit team, they were taken by the management team, which is obviously a very big concern during the audit. Okay, and the forecasts were provided by the management. So did the auditor check those forecasts? Did the auditor prepare his own forecast? Mary confirmed that the assumptions used in the forecast agreed to the assumptions used in the previous years. That is also a quality issue. Because when there is economic uncertainty going on, the previous years cannot be an indicator of future. Just use your mind. When there is economic uncertainty, because this year was not a normal year for the company. There is economic uncertainty, there are issues. So comparing them from the past is obviously not a good approach, because past will not be a good indicator of future here. Mary also used the firm's data analytics tools to confirm the mathematical accuracy. The data analytics tools must be used for much more detail, not just for arithmetical accuracy, and that the assumptions set out by the management had appropriately been reflected in the forecast. Following this work, Mary concluded that contracts which she had reviewed support the going concern status. We didn't look at the market, we just look at the management assumptions and we relied on. Having reviewed these major contracts, Mary completed the conclusion on going concern, stating that there is no significant uncertainty. Mary commented that due to the effectiveness of the data analytics tool, she only had to record 8 hours in relation to the work she had performed on going concern. Just imagine a significant audit risk, and 8 hours means 1 working day. The entire audit of a significant audit risk area was completed in a 1 working day. So there are plenty of quality control issues, some ethical issues, because you have read that the audit partner was involved in non-audit services also. There was issue of long association also. So I believe that this is not a difficult question. Okay. And the good thing is that now your time management aspect has improved a lot. because you don't have to attempt 25 marks. You are just attempting 20 marks in a professional manner. And attempting in a professional manner is nothing difficult. It is just about relating to the scenario in a more better approach. Okay. See, you will just apply, answer 20 marks requirements, evaluate the quality of planning and performance of the audit of reverse company, discussing the quality management, ethical and other professional issues. So you are just answering 20 marks, but you will get 25 marks if you answer it in a professional manner. Now I'll draft the answer. We'll discuss it. We'll draft it together. Okay. And then the most important thing, we'll do a session on read the mind of the marker, in which the examiner has marked one script and demonstrated that what he expects from the answer. We'll first draft the answer together in the today's session. Then we'll have a session in which we'll discuss a script of a student marked by the examiner. So then we look at our answer, the examiner marked answer, and the examiner's published answers. See, one is the published answer, which the examiner publishes every year. One is a marked script of a student. We'll discuss that also. For this specimen paper, the examiner has issued a marked script of a student also. Okay. So listen to me carefully while I draft the answer. I want you all to listen to me carefully. Okay. Let's start. Okay. The name of the firm is Walford Company. Okay. Since it's question number 2, it's a section B question. So there are no marks of communication. Okay. So you don't need to make any format. You will just attempt your answer. Okay. It's better to copy the requirement so that it appears in front of you always. Okay. Let's start. So now we will go and refer the scenarios again, and we will identify the information which we have to include in our answer. Let's read the requirement once again, and then we'll go back and refer the scenarios. Evaluate the quality of the planning and performance of the audit of reverse company, discussing the quality management, ethical, and other professional issues raised, and recommending appropriate actions to be taken. So we have to identify quality control issues, ethical issues, professional issues, and actions to be taken in relation to the audit of the reverse company which has already been performed. Okay, let's refer to Exhibit 1. Reverse company is a listed company operating in the construction industry. The company complies with the corporate governance regulations and has an audit committee. Reverse Company has been an audit client of Walford & Company for 8 years. Bob Newbold has been the audit engagement partner during this time. So when we look at this first paragraph, there is an ethical issue that Bob Newbold has been acting as an audit partner for Reverse Company for more than 7 years. You all know that as per the ethical code, an audit partner can do audit for maximum 7 years in case of listed client. Okay. And Bob Newbold has been doing audit of Reverse Company for 8 years. Okay. So now let's draft the point on it. I hope you all remember that in ethics, quality control, professional issues, and actions to be taken answers, each point we draft holds 1 mark. So what about the professional skill marks? See, professional skill marks are not a separate requirement. The examiner says that you have to answer your auditing content in a professional manner, and you'll just be getting the professional skill marks in addition. So we will draft our points with 1 mark marking scheme in our mind, which we follow for our auditing answers, because we are answering this 20 marks requirement only. Okay, the quality control, ethics, professional issues, and actions to be taken requirement. The professional skill marks are in addition, which will be allotted if the examiner is satisfied that a student has answered the auditing marks in a professional manner. Okay, so professional skill marks shouldn't be considered as something new. It is not a new topic. You have to answer your auditing requirements in a normal manner. Just make sure that your answer is applied to the scenario in a more better manner. Okay? And you'll get the professional skill marks. Let's draft the answers so that you people can have a better demonstration. Okay? Now, Bob Newbold has been doing audit of Rivers Company as an audit engagement partner for 8 years. It is against ethical code, or you can refer IESBA, International Ethics Standard Board for Accounting. But it is not mandatory to refer the names of the ethics standard. You can write ethical code also. It is against IESBA requirements, as in case of listed company audit, an engagement partner can work for maximum 7 continuous years. Okay. And Bob Newbold has been acting as an audit engagement partner for 8 years. So Bob Newbold has been doing audit of Rivers Company as an audit engagement partner for 8 years. It is against IESBA requirements, as in case of listed company audit, an engagement partner can work for maximum 7 continuous years. This breach of ethical code should be reported to those charged with governance, of Rivers Company. See, obviously, breach of ethical code is a problem for the firm and also for the client, because it is clearly written that the client complies with the corporate governance regulations. And when the client is following corporate governance, how this non-compliance was done, it's an issue. Okay, please make sure that the audit report has already been issued. So there has been a breach which has been done. So we have to report it to those charged with governance. Now, if you look at the point which I have drafted, it is nothing new. It is the same method and the content which we write in our ethics answers. So, sir, how mark for professional skills? See, the marking of professional skill will go on alongside your auditing marks. The examiner will look at your answer, that whether you have analyzed and evaluated the scenario well, whether you are taking good judgments during your answer or not. Okay, so we'll look at our answer while we draft it, and then at the end also we'll try and identify that where we have secured the professional skill marks. Okay, the only thing which you need to make sure is that there is no additional things which you have to write. Just the ethics answer, just the auditing answer, applied on the scenario in a better manner. Okay, so Bob Newbold has been doing audit of Rivers Company as an audit engagement partner for 8 years. It is against IESBA requirement, as in case of listed company audit, an engagement partner can work for maximum 7 continuous years. This is breach of ethical code, and it should be reported to those charged with governance. For future audits, Bob Newbold should not work as an audit engagement partner for at least 5 years. Okay? Because you all know that the audit partner has to be rotated for 5 years when he has completed his maximum tenure. Okay? Audit partner has to be rotated from audit team once maximum time for continuous audit has been completed. Okay, so for future audits, we shouldn't include Bob Newbold as an audit engagement partner. He cannot be a part of audit team. Okay, so we have identified the issue that, okay, it is breaching the IESBA requirements, and we have referred that an action which should be taken. Now, we will explore it further, the ethics and professional issues. Okay, doing audit for continuous 8 years, have created self-interest threat and familiarity threat. Doing audit for continuous 8 years has created self-interest threat for Bob Newbold. Okay. Now, when we identify an issue, we explore it further, we evaluate it further, we make further comments. Okay, doing audit for continuous 8 years has created self-interest threat for Bob Newbold. Due to long association with reverse company, Bob Newbold may not be willing to modify audit opinion as it may affect his personal relation with reverse company. Okay, this issue may have affected audit quality, of audit which has been performed. Okay, so we have identified a self-interest threat, which is due to long association. Doing audit for 8 continuous years has created self-interest threat for Bob Newbold. Due to long association with reverse company, Bob Newbold may not be willing to modify audit opinion as it may affect his personal relation with reverse company. And this issue may have affected audit quality of audit which has been performed. Now see, the wording which you use that, okay, it may have affected the audit quality. This is your judgment skill that, okay, this issue may have created this impact. Okay, so you should have an ability to explain your points in a better manner. Okay, further, long association also creates familiarity threat. Further, long association also creates familiarity threat. Now, why familiarity threat? Because due to long association, we lose our independent skepticism. We are not able to question the client in a better manner. And it is apparent from the question that Bob Newbold only spent 2 hours as an audit partner on the work of reverse company. Further, long association also creates familiarity threat. Due to familiarity with reverse company, Bob Newbold may not be able to exercise independent judgment or independent skepticism in audit of reverse company. This is apparent from the fact that Bob Newbold only spent 2 hours on audit of reverse company. Okay. Further, due to familiarity, you can also highlight due to familiarity issue, Bob Newbold may get involved in non-audit works of reverse company, as due to long association, he may not be able to deny them or to say no to them, to deny them. Okay. Again, Bob Newbold has provided some special investigation work as a non-audit service during the audit activity. Okay, so if you look at my points, they are nothing new. We are applying familiarity threat, we are writing self-interest threat, we are writing actions to be taken, we are going on in a normal manner. But just what we are making sure is that we apply it to the scenario in a better manner. Okay, we have to improve our application. We have to be more related to the scenario. Okay, because since now the examiner is saying that, okay, I'm giving you extra 5 marks, so just make sure that you apply well. So we said, okay, we will make sure that we refer the time he's spending. Normally we say that, okay, the skepticism issue exists. Now we refer that, okay, he just spent 2 hours on the audit. It was written here, if you remember, that he has only spent 2 hours as an audit engagement partner. So we said, okay, the skepticism issue exists in reality also. Okay. So if you look at the points, Bob Newbold has been doing audit of reverse company as an audit engagement partner for 8 years. It is against ethical code because ethical code only permits 7 years. Then we said that for future audits, Bob Newbold should not be part of audit team for at least 5 years. Then we referred self-interest. Due to his personal interest, due to his relation, he will not be able to perform the quality audit. Further, long association also creates familiarity threat. Due to familiarity with reverse company, Bob Newbold may not be able to exercise independent skepticism in audit of reverse company. This is apparent from the fact that Bob Newbold has only spent 2 hours on audit of reverse company. This means that he didn't review the working papers in detail. Okay, due to familiarity issue, Bob Newbold may get involved in non-audit work of reverse company, as due to long association, he may not be able to deny them. Bob Newbold has provided some special investigation work as a non-audit work during audit activity. Okay, if you want, it's a very detailed point, you can break it in two also. Okay, now see, one more important thing many students ask me, that sir, if we write 2 points in one paragraph, will we be marked 1 mark or 2 marks? You'll be marked 2 marks. It is not about breaking the paragraph always. You can write 2 points in one paragraph also. You will be marked 2 marks on. The examiner look at your points, not your paragraphing. I break the paragraphs so that it is easier for you people to identify that, okay, here I am getting the marks. Okay. And if you want, you can add one more comment also. This is apparent from the fact that Bob Newbold only spent 2 hours on audit of reverse company. This shows that Bob Newbold has not reviewed working papers of reverse company in detail due to his familiarity with the client. Okay, so we have applied it in a more better manner. We are trying it to relate it to the scenario in a more better approach. Okay, and what else we can think about? That a partner has worked for audit for 8 years. Now we have reported it to those charged with governance of reverse company, but we also need to think about the firm's client acceptance procedures. Just think about it. What were the firm client acceptance procedures were doing when the same person was going for audit for the 8th time? Okay, firms client acceptance policies and procedures need to be reviewed because same audit engagement partner should not be permitted to perform audit for eight consecutive time when it is against ethical code. Okay, firms client acceptance procedures should have highlighted it when audit of reverse company was accepted. Okay, so an action to be taken from perspective of the firm is that the firm's policies and procedures should also need to be reviewed. So let's look at it again, what we have drafted in this first paragraph. Okay, just listen to me with patience and concentration. We'll do series of past papers and we will try and understand our approach in a more better manner. We have done all of this when we were studying our auditing topics, and now we are revising them again when we are doing the complete past papers. Okay, so Bob Newbold has been doing audit of reverse company as an audit engagement partner for 8 years. So it is a breach of ethical code. We highlighted that. Secondly, we said that for future audits, Bob Newbold shouldn't be part of the audit team. Then we referred the self-interest threat. We referred the familiarity threat. And then we referred that this familiarity issue is also creating an impact that Bob Newbold has accepted the non-audit works of reverse company because he was not able to say no to them. Okay. And then the firm's client acceptance policy and procedures should be reviewed. Now see, what you need to understand is that these 5-6 points which we have written, they have nothing to do with the professional skills. This is a normal approach which we used to follow when we were studying ethics. As far as the professional skill marks are concerned, what we just need to make sure is that we refer to the scenario good. Okay, that gives you marks in analysis and evaluation. What you need to think is that when you are identifying an issue, you can make a judgment that, okay, you said that this issue may have affected the audit quality. This is the judgmental work that, okay, here is an issue and it must have affected the audit quality. Okay, you made a judgment that, okay, the Bob Newbold has not reviewed the audit working papers well. This is your judgment skill. Okay, and then you refer that the firm should also look at its policies and procedures. So that is something from commercial acumen that you are advising that of what firm should do in its future. But what you need to understand is that we are writing these points because they are part of our auditing answer. But now, as you all know, that every point you will write will be marked twice, one from the auditing perspective and one from the professional skill perspective. For professional skill perspective, you don't write any new point. Just while writing, you say that, okay, this point is part of my auditing, and this will also enable me to get the professional marks. Okay, I hope that you are getting it. Now, let's go back. Reverse company audit report was signed by Bob Newbold and issued last. The report contained an unmodified audit opinion. Walford and Company requires its staff to record each hour they spend working on each client in the firm's time management system. From reviewing the time records relating to the audit of Reverse Company, you are aware that Bob and other team members recorded the following time. Now, Bob Newbold just spent 2 hours. Obviously, it is an issue that audit partner has not spent sufficient time in review of the audit working papers. The senior audit manager only spent 6 hours. That is also insufficient. Audit manager spent 35 hours and 6 audit assistants spent 130 hours. The total time spent on audit is 173 hours. So if you look at it from the perspective of a listed company audit, 173 hours are not sufficient. Because 173 hours for listed company audit is very less time. Now, those students who don't work in audit firms, they may not be able to get this point clearly. But for them, I'll make it easier. Just think about it. You work 10 hours a day. So will you complete a listed company audit in just 17 days? Obviously, the answer is no. Listed company means that it is a public company. It's on stock exchange. You have to spend greater time. And if you remember your quality control rules, in listed company, it is a requirement that a second partner review, which we call as a hot review, the quality control review should also have been done before the issue of the audit. We are doing this post-review. There is a pre-review also, and there is nothing referred about the quality control review done by the second partner. Okay, it is apparent from your review that almost all of the detailed review of the audit working paper was completed by Anissa Kinton, who has evidenced her review by stating final review on each page of audit file. She has recently been promoted to audit manager. So let's develop the points. I want you all to concentrate on it. Total time spent on reverse company audit is just 173 hours. It is insufficient time. It is insufficient time to perform audit of a listed company. Okay, it creates a concern for quality of audit performed as sufficient and appropriate audit evidences, may not have been obtained to support the unmodified audit opinion expressed. Okay, I will repeat it again. Total time spent on river company audit is just 173 hours. It is insufficient time to perform audit of a listed company. Okay, we have identified the issue. Then we applied it to the scenario that, okay, the audit report has been issued. So we said that it creates a concern for quality of audit performed as sufficient and appropriate audit evidences may not have been obtained to support the unmodified audit opinion expressed. Okay, further, audit partner and senior audit manager has spent very less time on audit of reverse company. Okay, this creates a concern that review of working papers may not have been performed well. Audit partner only spent 2 hours audit partner Bob Newbold has only spent 2 hours, and senior audit manager, what is the name of senior audit manager? Pat Kenley. And senior audit manager Pat Kenley has only spent 6 hours. Okay? Audit partner and senior audit manager should have spent greater time in reviewing audit working papers. Okay, so again, we have identified another issue that partner only spent 2 hours and senior audit manager spent just 6 hours. Okay, final review of working papers were done by junior audit manager, and the name of the audit manager is Anissa Kintin. Okay, final review of working paper were done by junior audit manager Anissa Kintin. She has just been promoted to audit manager level, and she has performed final review of working papers. Okay, she may lack sufficient expertise to perform final review of working papers. If audit partner was busy, then review of working papers should have been done by senior audit manager. Okay, so we identified another issue. See, we are writing the answer in a normal manner. Okay, the purpose of drafting the answer with you people is to give you a confidence that you have to write in a normal manner. See, it is very easy for me to open an answer and read it for you people. But I draft the answer with you people so that you can have an understanding that, okay, I can also do it. The teacher is drafting in a normal manner like we study always. Okay, so ethical issues, quality issues, professional issues, and the actions which should be taken in this regard. So we are identifying the issues that, okay, the total time spent was very less. Then senior audit manager and audit partner spent very less time. The final reviews were done by audit manager who has just been promoted. Even if the audit partner was busy, the reviews should have been done by senior audit manager rather than the junior audit manager. Okay. It also needs to be considered that no information, or you can say that no time spent of quality control partner is included in firm's time recording system in relation to reverse company audit. As reverse company is a listed client, is a listed audit client, therefore, quality control review by a second partner should have been done before issue of audit report. Okay? No information about it in firm's time recording system indicates that review was not done by second partner before issue of audit report. Okay, so it is also an issue that in case of listed clients, it is a mandatory requirement that a review should have been done by a second partner, which we call as a hot review. Okay, if you look at the question, if you don't remember, if I just show you the introduction, we are doing post-issuance audit quality review. The post-issuance audit quality review is a cold review, which is for improvement of the things. But what about the hot review, which should have been done before the issue of audit report? Okay, so it also needs to be considered that no time spent of quality control partner is included in firm's time recording system. Now, this indicates your skepticism skill that, okay, you are questioning the question data, that, okay, there is something missing. Okay, and obviously it is an ethical issue also. It is a quality control issue also. That, okay, that during the audit, the quality was not made sure. It's a quality control issue. But it also indicates your skepticism skill that, okay, you are looking at the data carefully. Okay. So what if we missed any of the point? See, you all know that in auditing answers, the marking scheme includes more points. Like if we look at the marking scheme, there will be like 30 points in the answer. You have to write any 20 from those 30. So if you miss any point, it's nothing to worry. Okay. But obviously you need to practice so that you can evaluate and look at it in more detail. Okay. So as far as the hours are concerned, we highlighted the 173 hours thing. We highlighted that the partner spent very less time. Okay. We highlighted that junior partner has done the final review. And we highlighted that there is nothing written about the quality control review. You are also aware that Bob Newbold booked a total of 40 hours to reverse company in respect of non-audit work performed. Now, here obviously there is a problem that in case of listed audit clients, non-audit work relating to financial statements is not permitted. Okay. The only information you can find in the documentation is that non-audit work related to some special investigation. So as per the documentations, it is not clear that what non-audit work was done. But if it is related to financial statement, it is not permitted. And we can also say that the documentation of the audit working paper file is insufficient because if any non-audit work was performed, appropriate details should be included in the documentation. And what safeguards they made sure, that also should be included in the documentation. Only information is that Bob confirms that it does not create a threat to objectivity. So let's identify the issues also. Bob Newbold has also provided non-audit services to reverse company. This is against ethical code as in case of listed company audit, non-audit services relating to financial statement are not permitted. Okay, audit working paper, audit documentations do not provide complete detail that what non-audit service was provided. Okay, so you identified that, okay, non-audit work is provided, that is against the ethical code, and you also question the documentation, that the documentation is not complete because it is not showing that what non-audit work was required. Okay. Further, documentation relating to audit of reverse company is also incomplete. See, we also have to identify the quality issues. Is also incomplete as in relation to non-audit work performed, complete details are not included in audit working paper files, in audit working papers, that what non-audit service was provided and how safeguards were applied to make sure that it do not create an ethical issue. Okay, so you have questioned the documentation also. See, believe me, in my opinion, this answer is very easy. You are just reading the question and you are identifying the issues. This is the issue. This is the issue. Here is the quality issue. This is an ethical issue. You are just identifying the issues. And after introduction of the professional mark, the things have become easier because you don't have to attempt 25 marks. You are just attempting 20 marks in this question. The 5 marks will be given to you for free. What you need to make sure is that while you are drafting the answer, you relate it to the scenario well. And this is one of the words already make sure we already try to relate our answer to the scenario. Okay, so this is nothing extra which we have to. Okay, so how many points which we have written before we write further? First point, that it's a breach of ethical code. Then an action that for future audit, Bob Newbold shouldn't be part of audit team. Then we identified self-interest threat. Then we identified familiarity threat. Okay, due to familiarity, we may not be able to deny the non-audit work. Then the client acceptance procedure should be reviewed. So 5 to 6 points still here. Then we highlighted the total time spent. That was the 6 point. Then very less time spent by the audit senior and audit engagement partner. That was the 7 point. Then final review done by the junior audit manager. No time spent by the quality control partner, and non-audit services which have been provided, and the documentation issue. So one, I just highlight the paragraphs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So out of 20 marks, we have already attempted 12 marks. Okay. On familiarity, you wrote 2 points. If you want, you use, if you're very conservative, you say that, okay, for familiarity, I will only consider 1 mark. Then also you have already done 11 marks. 11 points are already done. See, what you need to understand is that when you are doing the auditing answer, be relaxed. Read the question, start identifying the issues. They'll be coming just automatically. We are still on Exhibit 1. There is a complete Exhibit 2 left. And obviously in Exhibit 2 also there will be issues. Okay. So we highlighted that documentation was also not complete. Then one more issue which you can identify, there are still issues, that only word special investigation is written and no further detail is given. It also creates a concern, it also creates a risk that the amount which he took for these non-audit service, because if you look at it, the total fees charged for the audit was $250,000 and the fees for special investigation was $890,000. When for anything, if incomplete information is included, it always creates a risk. It always creates a concern that some unethical work may have been done. Maybe it was some bribe taken by Bob Newbold, that why he has not given sufficient detail in the audit working. You all know that hiding information is always an ethical issue. Okay. An ethical concern exists. An ethical concern exists in relation to Bob Newbold's lack of disclosure about non-audit service provided to Rivers Company. Only information disclosed is that it was a special investigation, and as per audit partner, it do not create any ethical issue. Okay, it creates a concern that as audit partner is hiding information in working papers, some unethical work may have been done. It also creates a concern that some bribe may have been taken for unmodified opinion in audit of Rivers Company. See, if the audit engagement partner is hiding information, obviously it's a risk. He took the amount and he is not disclosing it. Okay, are you getting it? And then if you look at the level of the fees for audit activity is $250,000. But for this non-audit work, he took $890,000, which is much more than your audit fees. Obviously, it is an ethical issue. And then he spent only 2 hours in the audit and 40 hours in the non-audit work. So these are obviously issues. Amount of fees for non-audit work performed by Bob Newbold creates an ethical issue, as it is much greater than audit fees. Okay. Further, Bob Newbold has spent 40 hours on non-audit work, but only 2 hours on audit activity. This shows his lack of focus on audit of River's company. Okay, he was completely inclined towards non-audit work. He was completely inclined towards the non-audit. I hope you people are getting it. See, I'm identifying the issues in a normal manner. This is a normal approach of our ethics answers, that we identify the issues in this manner. Okay, you can also write a point that $890,000 from non-audit work may have created an issue of fees dependence. Use your mind that we cannot generate too much revenue from a single audit client. Okay, non-audit work of $890,000, non-audit work of $890,000, of $890,000 may create an ethical issue of fees dependency on a single client. Okay, it needs to be considered. It needs to be considered that whether total revenue generated from River's company should be considered that whether total revenue generated from River's company has not exceeded 15% of firm's total revenue. Okay? As per ethical code, if a single client generates 15% or more revenue of audit partner of audit firm, then it creates a self-interest threat. Okay, so you also need to think about the fees dependency, because this non-audit work of 890,000 may create an ethical issue of fees dependency also. So see, if you look at the answer which I'm drafting with you people, we have identifying the issues as we used to identify in our ethics topic. Okay, ethics and quality control topic, that we read the scenario and we start highlighting the issues. Okay, audit for 8 consecutive years. It's against ethical code because maximum time allowed is 7 years. Then we advise that for future audit, he should be removed from the team for 5 years. Then we highlighted self-interest threat due to long association. You all know that. Familiarity threat due to long association. And then we said that the firm's client acceptance policies and procedures should be reviewed. If you don't remember ethics, if you don't remember quality control, you have the recorded classes, just go back and revise that. Okay, this is our normal approach. 1 mark for each point. Write brief points, pick up the issue, explain it. Okay, relate it to the scenario well, you will get professional skill marks for free. Okay, so 5 marks till here. Then we move towards the time spent. The total time spent was 173 hours for listed company audit. It's very less. The time of audit partner and senior audit manager was very less. Reviews done by the junior audit manager, and no time spent by the quality control partner. 4 points. 1 mark each point. So 9 marks. Then the non-audit service, it's not permitted in case of listed entities. Documentation is insufficient. Okay, and then we said that, okay, insufficient information by the audit partner is itself an ethical issue. Then very less time on audit and too much time on non-audit work, and the fees dependency issue. So 5 points here. So 5, 4, 5. We are done with 14 points, which means 14 marks. And we are left with the whole exhibit. So if like in these 14 points, we miss out 4, 5 points, then what will happen? Nothing to worry about. You will identify points in exhibit 2. So what the examiner says is that, okay, in the marking scheme, there are like 30 points, 30, 35 points. You just have to pick 20 points from them to get 20 marks of auditing. So what about professional skills? Do we have to write some new paragraph for professional skill? No, no, no. No new paragraph for professional skills. Just the points of auditing which you are writing, you have to make sure that you apply them well to the scenario. And the professional marks are free. They are a gift for you. Okay, let's look at this exhibit 2, which is of going concern. From reviewing the audit working papers, you are aware that going concern was identified as a significant audit risk at the planning stage of audit due to low profit margins or losses being made on many of the company's construction contracts and increasing economic uncertainty. The company typically has 20 contracts ongoing at any time. So we have read this exhibit earlier also. Now we are reading it again so that we can identify the quality, ethical, and professional issues. So he has told us that going concern was a significant audit risk during the audit of Rivers Company, at the company works on 20 contracts. Most of the audit work on going concern was performed by Mary Locks, an audit assistant who has just taken a last professional exam and is not yet qualified. So again, it is a quality issue. That when it was a significant audit risk, why its audit work was only done by a single audit assistant and who was not even qualified, who was not even experienced to do that. So obviously it is a quality issue. When it was a significant risk, we should have allocated greater team members and we should have made sure that more experienced team members should have been working on it. Okay, now the majority of the audit was performed on going concern focused on a review of 5 major contracts to determine their profitability. The management of Rivers Company identified the major contracts for review and provided Mary Company with forecast. Now, when it was a significant issue, we should have evaluated greater contracts. Why only 5 from 20 contracts? We should have evaluated like 10, 12 contracts when it was a significant audit risk. And even if I say, okay, we took only 5 contracts, those 5 were also identified by the management. So obviously, they may have identified those 5 only in which there was no issues. So you can say that there is also an issue that the sample was selected by the management, not by the auditor. Mary confirmed that the assumptions used in the forecast agreed to the assumptions used in previous years. This is also wrong. See, economic uncertainty and problems are in this year. You cannot make the previous year as a benchmark because previous year was not a reflection of the current year issues. You should have looked at the market trends. Mary also used the firm's data analytics tool to confirm the mathematical accuracy of the forecast and the assumption set out by the management has been appropriately reflected in the forecast. This shows that Mary even don't know how to use the data analytics tools. Data analytics tools may be used in a much better manner, like for sensitivity analysis. You just use them for mathematical accuracy. Following this work, Mary concluded that the contract which she had reviewed support the going concern status. Having reviewed these major contracts, Mary concluded on going concern stating that there is no significant uncertainty. Mary commented that due to the effectiveness of the data analytics tools, she only had to record 8 hours. First of all, 8 hours on going concern was a very less time. And too much reliance is placed on the data analytics tool. And even that data analytics tool is also not used in a proper manner. So now let's identify the issues and start commenting on it. Believe me, I think that it's a very easy. Believe me. Okay. Going concern, audit of going concern head was delegated to an inexperienced audit assistant who is not even a qualified accountant. This it creates a concern for audit quality as going concern was highlighted as a significant audit issue during planning of audit. Okay. So audit of going concern was delegated to an inexperienced audit assistant. Obviously, it is an issue. Delegation of work is not done in a proper manner. Okay. It should have been delegated to more experienced team members and greater team members rather than only one member of audit team. Okay, so rather than just giving this work to one team member, it's obviously insufficient. Okay, then Mary Loxley just reviewed 5 contracts while concluding 5 contracts out of 20 contracts of reverse company while concluding ongoing concern status. Okay, it was insufficient audit work as going concern was highlighted as significant audit issue for reverse company audit. Okay, greater audit evidences should have been taken considering problems faced by reverse company in its ongoing contracts and due to an economic uncertainty. Okay, so when you know that one thing was high risk, you should have taken greater evidences. So she just relied on 5 contracts out of those 20 contracts. And the most important thing which you can highlight is that the sample was not even selected by the audit team, it was selected by the management. Okay, 5 contracts which were included in review of going concern were selected by management. Okay, it is a concern for quality of audit as sample must be selected by audit team rather than management. Okay, management may have done selection in biased manner to avoid going concern issues being highlighted to auditors. Okay, so you shouldn't be relying on the selection of the management. So first of all, wrong delegation, an important issue. Then only 5 contracts were selected. Selection was also done by the management. Okay, and what else? If you look here, the majority of the audit work performed on the going concern focused on review of 5 contracts to determine their profitability. The management of reverse company identified the contracts for review and provided Mary with the forecast indicating that contracts would all make a small profit. Mary confirmed the assumptions used in forecast, agreed to the assumptions used in previous years. So that also shows insufficient audit work being done, because the previous years cannot be a true reflection for the future going concern status, considering the increasing economic uncertainty in the current year. Okay, so insufficient audit work in relation to going concern is also reflected from the fact that Mary Loxley only confirmed management assumptions by comparing them with previous years. Okay, considering increasing economic uncertainty in current year, previous years assumptions may not reflect current year problems. Okay. Greater audit work should have been performed by referring to market data also. Okay. This shows that evidences obtained to form conclusion on going concern status were insufficient. Okay. This affects the basis of unmodified audit opinion expressed by audit partner. Okay, so you can say that audit work is also insufficient. You just referred the previous year. The previous year data cannot be a true reflection of future years considering the increasing economic uncertainty in the current year. Okay, and then you said that obviously insufficient audit work means that the sufficient evidences and sufficient bases were not formed. Okay, so this comment which you have added, this shows your skill of making a judgment that, okay, since the audit work is not done completely, so the basis of forming an opinion by the audit partner must also be questioned. Okay, so wrong delegation of work, review of only 5 contracts, sampling done by the management, and just comparing them to the previous year, that is also an issue. Okay, let's look further what other quality issues exist. I believe that if you just read the question carefully, the quality issues are very apparent. Mary used the firm's data analytics tool to confirm the mathematical accuracy of the forecast and the assumptions set out by the management had been appropriately reflected in the forecast. So she used the data analytics tool to only confirm the mathematical accuracy. So this shows the incompetence on behalf of the audit assistant, that she should have used the data analytics tool in a much more detail. Okay. Mary Loxley just used data analytics tools of management of a firm. Mary Loxley used data analytics tools of firm to just check arithmetical accuracy of forecasts prepared by management. This shows incompetence on end of Mary Loxley, as she could have used data analytics tools to perform much greater audit work like sensitivity analysis of forecast provided by management. Okay, insufficient use of data analytics tools also indicate lack of quality being, or you can say also indicate insufficient audit work in relation to going concern. Okay, you can also write that it also shows that lack of quality being made sure during the audit. See, what you need to understand is that you can use any wordings. Just you need to make sure that is you are reflecting the concept in a proper manner and you are evaluating the scenario in a good manner. Okay, so if you look at it, believe me, we haven't done anything difficult, or I haven't done anything on which I have to explain too much. Just read the scenario and the issues are just apparent. Okay, that she just checked the arithmetical accuracy using data analytics tools. Obviously, data analytics tools must have been used for much more detail. Following the work, Mary concluded that the contract which she had reviewed support the going concern status, which is obviously insufficient audit. Having reviewed the major contracts, Mary completed the conclusion on going concern, stating that there is no significant uncertainty over going concern. Mary commented that due to the effectiveness of data analytics tools, she only had to record 8 hours. 8 hours on going concern is already very less. And secondly, you just don't use only data analytics tool. You have to use other audit procedures also. She has done over reliance She has done over-reliance on data analytics tools only. So, further, Mary Loxley has only spent 8 hours on audit of going concern head. Okay, it is insufficient time. It is insufficient time to audit going concern head. Further, and she, her basis of lesser time being spent is her reliance on data analytics tools. Okay, it is also a quality control issue as she has placed too much reliance on data analytics tools. Okay, she should have used other audit procedures also. Okay, so you just don't only use the data analytics tools, you use other audit procedures also. So now you can conclude, considering multiple quality control issues highlighted in audit of a reverse company, it can be concluded that significant quality control and ethical issues exist in audit already performed. Insufficient basis exists for the audit opinion which has been expressed by audit partner. Okay, so if you want, you can conclude it in the end that considering all the quality control issues, it can be concluded that the quality was compromised and the audit evidences to form the basis for the opinion were insufficient. So if you look at this answer, it was a 20 marks answer and we have to identify 20 points because we consider ethics, quality, and role and actions to be taken for 1 mark each. You read the scenario and you just think in an open manner that, okay, this is the issue, this is the issue. Like, for example, if I review the points again, spending 8 years on audit, it is a simple ethical issue that it is not permitted to spend more than 7 years. Now, it is nothing on which I have to explain some concept. These are the issues which you already study in ethics. Okay. Now, the major problem which the students do in examination is that they take stress of the question. That, oh, it's very difficult. How will I do? For auditing answers, I always say that, okay, be relaxed, read it, and the issues will come out automatically. They'll just, I'll say that they'll jump out of the question. Okay, then he shouldn't be doing audit for next 5 years. A simple thing. Self-interest threat due to long association, familiarity threat. We explained it in one more paragraph also. And the client acceptance procedure should be. So we consider that as 5 points we wrote. Then the time spent on the audit, 173 hours. It's insufficient. Audit partner and senior manager gave very less time. Junior audit manager perform final review. That is an issue. No reference of quality control partner. Okay, so 4 points we wrote on it. 5 plus 4, 9 points. Then non-audit service provided by the audit partner, which is not permitted. Documentation is insufficient. Lack of disclosure by the audit partner. Okay, amount of fees is very high when we look at the audit fees and the fees dependency issue. So 5 points here. 5, 4, 5, 14 points. And then we move towards going concern. Delegated to audit assistant who is not even qualified, it's an issue. Just looked at 5 contracts when it was a significant risk. Sampling done by the management. Just looked at with the previous year, didn't refer the market data. Used data analytics tool for just arithmetical accuracy. Only spent 8 hours. Okay, so again, 6 points here. So it completes our 20 points. There are multiple quality control issues. You can conclude that sufficient evidences were not obtained. You can write further actions also that we should refer the entire audit team for training. Training relating to ethics and training relating to audit activity also, that they should do their work carefully. We should refer them to training, okay, so that those things don't happen in the future. The firm policies, controls, they have to be reviewed. Okay. So we have discussed this question a bit, read the question, and we drafted the entire answer together. I have tried to highlight that, okay, these are the auditing marks and how you can get the professional marks. For professional skill marks, it's not a separate requirement. Just when you write the points, the same points which you write in your audit process, the ethics and quality control points, just try and relate to the scenario well. Okay. Now, in the next class, I will do one very important activity. Very important class. Don't miss it. In the next class, I will keep my answer. We'll open the marking scheme and then we will compare it with a marked script of the examiner. For the specimen paper, a document is issued by ACCA, which is called as Read the Mind of Marker. In that document, the examiner marks a script of a student and he shows that, okay, I have given him marks here, 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 so that you can understand that how much you have to write. Because many students say that, okay, sir, you have written, it's reasonable length, but still when we look at the examiner answer, it is very much detailed. See, the examiner answer is not written in time limitation. You cannot write like an examiner. You have to write like a student. So when you look at the script of the student, which was marked by the examiner, you will be able to identify that how much you have to write. Okay. So in the today's session, we discussed this question number 2. In the next class, we'll look at that, read the mind of the markers. Okay. Thank you, everyone. If you have any query, feel free to contact me. Thank you.